a penthouse in one of London's most exclusive boroughs.
A trial in Germany is shining a light on a multi-million-pound London property.
A cliff-top mansion overlooking the Black Sea.
She bought a £13.5 million Kensington penthouse stuffed full of beautiful artwork, swimming pool, glorious place to live.
The historic building that shadows Bulgaria's parliament.
Bought by a notorious cryptocurrency scammer.
Each property a piece in her elaborate puzzle. Every deed, every door, concealing millions.
She used a Guernsey offshore company, which was owned by another offshore company, which was owned by another Guernsey company.
In the midst of scamming millions of people,
Ruja Ignatova, who became known as the missing Cryptoqueen,
built a property portfolio worth millions.
There's nothing anybody can do about it because of these complicated ownership systems.
This is the story of how a maze of shell companies formed a property empire with stolen billions.
Dr. Ruja Ignatova
has been accused of defrauding victims out of more than $4 billion.
None of her victims, located all around the world, have received any of their money back.
If you're new to the Cryptoqueen story, you will find my original documentary linked below, and I'm trying to get to 70 subscribers, so if you like the content, please consider subscribing. Enjoy. Dubai, a playground for the ultra-rich, where skyscrapers reach clouds and man-made islands glisten in the Persian Gulf. Luxury yachts line its marinas, and foreign investment has poured over 160 billion into its real estate. But beneath the glimmer and wealth lies a world of shadows and secrets. What makes Dubai unique is that unlike other financial centers, its liberal residency rules and low regulatory oversight are perfect for anyone that wants to hide their wealth or its origins. And in real estate, this is very powerful because you can actually live in and do business through your laundered money.
My ambition is to become top 3 in the world of cryptocurrency. Whatever we do, we should do properly, we should do right, we should do with style.
In March of 2015, as Ruja took the stage in Dubai promoting OneCoin's expansion into the UAE, she was orchestrating something else behind the scenes. Through a newly created shell company, Oceana Properties Limited, she acquired a $2.7 million penthouse in the prestigious Oceana Pacific building. This would become her first step in building a property empire designed to protect her wealth and freedom. While Ruja's on stage promoting OneCoin, she's simultaneously setting up Oceana Properties Limited, her shell company used to hide the penthouse purchase. But what's fascinating is how this mirrors classic money laundering tactics. Establish yourself publicly as a legitimate businesswoman in Dubai's financial scene, while at the same time using its secretive property market to convert stolen money into hard assets. You see, for Ruja, Dubai wasn't only about luxury living. It was about creating a safety net through asset accumulation. As billions poured into OneCoin, a newly found entity became Ruja's main focus. RISG Limited wasn't just one company. It was part of an intricate web of shell corporations. Their sole purpose was to hide her billions. Think of shell companies like Russian nesting dolls. Each doll hides another, and another, and another, making it nearly impossible to trace the money back to its source. But what Ruja created wasn't a set of nesting dolls. It was more like a maze where each path led to another company, another country, another jurisdiction. But what's more interesting is the name. RISG Limited. RI, Ruja Ignatova. SG, Sebastian Greenwood. In mid-2015, she acquired the historic House of Molov for $5.7 million. This wasn't just any building. Built in 1909 by architect Nikolai Lazarov, it stands directly opposite Bulgaria's National Assembly, the heart of political power in Sofia. Once home to Dr. Dimitar Molov, the former mayor of Sofia. The building was purchased by Bulgarian company One Property, managed by Ruja's mother Veska. Ownership was then transferred to Elmez Property, overseen by Velizar Radev, a close friend of Ruja's. But just 10 days later, it was sold to RISG Limited. But here's the thing, RISG Limited wasn't owned by Ruja. Well, not technically. It was controlled by 2 unknown Panamanians. And what's more, RISG Limited was a subsidiary of One Property, the company controlled by Ruja Ignatova. You see, years ago, Panama's corporate framework was designed specifically for this. Using nominee directors as a smokescreen enabled Ruja to maintain overall control through her mother's management of one property. This was a reoccurring theme. Each asset she purchased followed the same pattern. A local company acquires the property, holds it briefly, then it's transferred to an offshore entity. Each transfer making the money trail harder to follow, thus putting more and more distance between Ruja and the asset.
You've seen it with the Pandora leaks, that an awful lot of very wealthy people, some for good reason, but some for bad, use companies and obscure ownership structures to essentially keep the true ownership of their properties hidden.
In the same year, Ruja set her sights on yet another historic landmark, merely minutes from Molov House, and through a different UAE-based entity, Raven R Limited, she paid 4.8 million for the Krim restaurant building, known to generations of Sofia's elite as the Russian Club. You see, from the late 90s to the mid-2000s, Krim restaurant was a social hub for politicians, celebrities, and Sofia's social elite, where deals were made, alliances formed, and power was exchanged over dinner. With Molov House opposite Parliament, and now Krim restaurant in the diplomatic quarter, a pattern was emerging. These weren't just prestigious locations, they were strategically positioned properties at the center of Bulgaria's political power structure. And through a maze of offshore companies and careful planning, Ruja wasn't just building herself a property portfolio, she was buying herself a seat at Bulgaria's most influential tables. By 2016, due to its continued success and expansion, OneCoin needed a headquarters befitting of its growing ambitions. The answer lay at 6A Slavyankov Square, a $2.1 million property with unexpected connections to GP Group, Bulgaria's leading construction giant, known for securing lucrative government contracts under Prime Minister Boyko Borisov's leadership. Now, it's all alleged, but according to reports, GP Group was far from your ordinary construction company. At the time, it was deeply tied to Bulgaria's business and political elite, most notably its alleged connections to Valentin Zlatev, the Bulgarian representative of Russian oil giant Lukoil, and its alleged close relationship to Prime Minister Boyko Borisov. So by acquiring the 6A Slavyankov Square building from GP Group, Ruja had further embedded herself into one of Bulgaria's most powerful networks. Bridging political clout and business authority, the lines between legitimate business and organized crime were beginning to blur. But when Sofia's historic buildings aren't enough to satisfy your appetite, what happens next? A custom-built seaside paradise. If her Sofia properties projected power, Ruja's Sozopol mansion was pure extravagance. Built in 2016, the coastal estate boasted a private beach, a vineyard, and large swimming pool. But it didn't stop there. She bought a neighboring hotel to convert it into her guest house. I guess every high-level criminal needs a retreat of some sort, and in choosing Sozopol, Ruja created her very own private sanctuary, all for the cost of $15 million. But what self-respecting billionaire buys a coastal mansion and doesn't have a yacht to go with it? The Divina, a $15 million yacht that showcased Ruja's taste for luxury. At 144 feet long, this custom-built vessel was the crown jewel of her Sozopol empire. Today, her floating palace remains moored at Sozopol's marina, left in the very same place since her disappearance in 2017. 50 miles up the coast from Ruja's Sozopol sanctuary lies Neseva, a UNESCO World Heritage Site where ancient churches meet the Black Sea. But she wasn't interested in its history. She saw an opportunity, one that would reveal just how deep her influence in Bulgaria really went. Once again, the same name appeared. Velizar Radev, the same man involved in the Molov House purchase, also managed a company called Prodile. In early 2015, Prodile acquired a coastal plot of land from the Ministry of Defense for just 2.8 million, half of its market value. By April 2016, half of Prodile was sold to a new entity, RISG Limited, the very same company Ruja used to acquire Molov House. The price, 7.1 million, nearly triple the cost of the original purchase. The pattern was all too similar. Shell companies, hidden ownership, massive profits, but this was government land, sold at discount through shell companies, all leading back to Ruja. The question is less about how she got such a good deal and more about who helped make it happen. Think about it. Government land allegedly sold at half price and then flipped for triple through companies owned by Ruja. According to investigators, her network reached into every level of Bulgarian society. When authorities moved, whether it was FBI or Europol, allegedly she knew in advance. Documents suggest she acquired government land at large discounts while officials looked the other way. This wasn't just about property, it was about control, and for years she remained several steps ahead. For most people, owning Sofia's most prestigious properties would be enough. For most criminals, a coastal paradise with a 44-meter yacht would satisfy their ambitions. But Ruja Ignatova was just not most people.
I'm honored. It's the face of OneCoin, the founder of the company, one and only Ruja Ignatova.
I feel like I'm coming home, or OneCoin is coming home. Because you all know I studied in Oxford, I lived in London, and I simply needed to be here when I heard about this event.
In 2016, as questions about OneCoin's legitimacy grew, Ruja made her most audacious move yet. A $17 million penthouse in one of London's most exclusive boroughs. But this was no ordinary property purchase.
This was a secret, really, until a couple of trials recently, including the one in Germany, revealed a bit of light on it.
The purchase was made through multiple shell companies, starting with Guernsey-registered Abbott's House Penthouse Limited. Just like in Sozopol, she bought a second apartment in the same building for $2.3 million.
She used a Guernsey sort of offshore company, which was owned by another offshore company, which was owned by another Guernsey company, which meant her name appeared nowhere on the records of ownership.
What we've uncovered is more than just property. It's a masterclass in hiding criminal wealth. Ruja turned stolen billions into a global empire, protected by shell companies and offshore secrecy. But in 2024, she was issued a global asset freeze, targeting properties in Bulgaria, Dubai, London, and beyond. A first step in dismantling an empire that once seemed untouchable.